And of course, for Liz, amazing for bringing a story to the broader public. Couple with $1.35 million RV stumbles upon huge possible lawsuit. The government is involved. And the scariest part of all is that there's a notice of penalty from the U.S. government for $660,000. Questions or comments? Put them below.
I have some updates for you, including the Newmar VIN case.
My concern is I think there's other Newmars out there, or all of the Newmars out there on Spartan chassis don't have any full VIN. And the last 5 digits is not compliant, as far as I know, because that's the information I got from the NHTSA inspector verbally.
4 weeks ago, I brought you the story of Brian and Jennifer, who are facing a $660,000 fine for not having the correct VIN badging on their motorhome. They paid well over $1 million for their Newmar motorhome when it was new. They enjoyed it for a few years. Then they found a buyer in the U.S., and they got stopped at the border when trying to import it to the U.S. However, their motorhome was seized at the border. A NHTSA agent looked at other Newmars at a local dealer lot and found out that those were out of compliance too.
Why does the government insist that we put VINs on our vehicle? Well, it's to prevent fraud, because somebody could just take this vehicle. They could literally come pick up my vehicle and re-VIN it with no issues. Well, that's how theft occurs. I could announce to the world, come steal this RV because you could just re-VIN it without any problems. And this is why the laws are there, is to prevent fraud and theft. If somebody gets into an accident, I don't have any VIN on this vehicle.
Despite me making 2 videos about this case, which could potentially affect thousands of Newmar owners, Newmar has continued to push back and insist that they are in compliance. Yet they've not contacted Brian and Jennifer to see how they can help. They have not gone out to look at their motorhome to see for themselves that the VIN badging is not in compliance. In fact, it is missing entirely from the exterior of their motorhome. So Brian has no choice but to take legal action. I will keep you updated as the case progresses. Meanwhile, I have to wonder, and I have to ask you, don't you think that since NHTSA saw that there were other Newmar motorhomes that were also out of compliance, and because it's the manufacturer's responsibility to take care of the VIN, don't you think this $660,000 fine should be directed at Newmar, not Brian and Jennifer? Let me know in the comments what you think about that. And like I said, I will definitely keep you updated on this case.
That's not the update I was hoping for. Let's discuss the VinGate Newmar case and the reasons why the VinGate Newmar owner should not have been inspected or charged. The first reason the Newmar owner should not have been inspected or charged is because he's exempt from inspection due to the RV exception in Title 49, which I will cite in the description to the video. The case is legally no different than a college student driving a U-Haul truck pulling into a state police weigh station because he's driving a truck. Now just imagine as a state trooper tells the college student that he doesn't need to stop at weigh stations in the U-Haul truck. An agent from Division of Consumer Affairs intervenes and orders the U-Haul to pull over for inspection. The agent then proceeds to cite the U-Haul driver for no medical examiner certificate, no bill of lading, no tariff, failure to register a household goods moving company, and operating without proper authority. Both inspections are not applicable because the RVer and the college student in the U-Haul are exempt from inspection due to Part 390.3F3. Also, take a look at DOT interpretations, question number 21 in my book, which deals with racing teams in cars, boats, or horses, and that they're exempt from the regulations, even when prize money is involved, provided they're not sponsored. The VinGate Newmar owner owns the coach, so he doesn't need to import it. The dealer in Arizona was going to purchase the Newmar, and that licensed dealer was going to import it to the United States. After verifying that the VinGate Newmar was not stolen, was being operated by the lawful owner, and didn't contain contraband, the border inspection should have ended and Brian should have been free to leave. Applicability is everything in this case. In order to be guilty of violating a law, the law must be applicable to you. The VinGate Newmar owner was cited for violating a law that is not applicable to individuals. So no matter what lens you view this case, the owner of the RV should not have been inspected or charged by NHTSA, and I'll prove it. Part 390.3E1 states that everyone shall be knowledgeable of and in compliance with all the rules contained in this subchapter. This is known as subchapter B. The laws contained in this volume apply to commercial interstate transportation in North America. Every trucker and bus driver is very familiar with this book. The violation cited in this case is not in Chapter 3, Subchapter B, and is not in this printed volume. Therefore, the owner is not required to be knowledgeable of or in compliance with it. It's in Chapter 5, and it's intended for manufacturers, which is who NHTSA regulates. They're responsible for the federal motor vehicle safety standards, things such as airbags and seatbelts, safety glass, and lights. They do the crash testing on late model cars. Furthermore, the VinGate Newmar owner doesn't fit the definition of a manufacturer or an importer as defined in Part 565.22. The VinGate Newmar owner is excluded from having to comply with Part 565.23 as per applicability guidelines stated in Part 565.21. It's a much larger case buried under all of this. How to avoid having this happen to you? The first mistake was meeting the drive-away company halfway through the trip. The better solution would have been to have the drive-away company pick the coach up at your house or business and remove your license plates before they take it. Professional drive-away drivers travel with a transporter license plate, and they use their own registration and insurance when they transport vehicles. So they don't need your license plate. My recommendations to the Class A RV world: don't allow your employees or a hired driver to operate your RV with your registration. Don't register your RV to your business. By doing so, you're waiving your exception to Title 49. Don't advertise your business on your RV, and don't put your US DOT number on it if you have one. Register your RV to yourself, purchase good insurance coverage, and consider a secondary insurance policy for excess liability protection. Don't rely on the RV salesman, dealer, or manufacturer for guidance. I'm stunned that Newmar doesn't have anybody at the company that's prepared to deal with this case, because the implications of what's going to happen is substantial. Good luck to everybody involved.